Let's talk about pruning for a second. I don't know if you need to hear this, or maybe God's just speaking to me about this, but do you realize how similar pruning and suffering are? And this morning when I was thinking about this, kind of praying through the pruning that God's taken me through lately, I had this vision, or this sight of this rose bush that's out front of my house. It's a beautiful little rose bush. I wish I could remember what kind of rose bush it is, but in the end, like that rose bush last year started to look rough. I mean, like rough. And I am not good at tending to the garden and cleaning up the shrubs around the house and mowing. It's just nothing I think of, because I have other things to do constantly. And I hired my friend Johnny to come out and just trim all my bushes. Well, when he trimmed this rose bush, he cut it down like really, really far. And I was like, man, that rose bush is like a little shrub now. You know, it was almost nothing. And can I tell you guys that this year that rose bush has exploded in beauty? It produces way more roses than it ever has, and it's about twice the size as it was last year. I'm blown away at how beautiful that bush is, all because he pruned it. And God was revealing to me that when the bush gets pruned, it is very painful. It's very painful for that bush. Not only does pruning take away some of the bush's beauty at first, and some of the bush's magnificence, and some of the bush's size and stature, and it takes away its image. Pruning takes away the bush's image. And God was telling me that when we get pruned, God has to take away our image, because we get so used to comfort, convenience, and just no changing spirituality, that God's not okay with that. Think about Job, right? Job didn't do anything wrong. Nothing. And yet, God allowed the devil to cause Job suffering. Like, I'm going to make a bold statement. Inadvertently, God caused suffering through the devil for Job. Why? Because of pruning. Because God disciplines those He loves. He is always driving us towards the goal of become more like Jesus. And what's so neat is, like, Jesus hadn't been here when Job was walking the earth, but God had already established the resemblance of Christ through Himself. And the first Adam was the form of Christ before he sinned. Well, Job didn't deserve anything, yet he was caused suffering in another form, pruning. And in pruning, Job's image changed. And he was now no longer walking this earth as this wealthy, untouchable. Even the devil says in Scripture, we can't get near him. We can't touch him because you're constantly protecting him. So Job was faced with suffering that he's never experienced before, faced with pruning he's never experienced before. And in the process, God pruned out of him pride and this idolization of security and comfort and convenience. And he pruned out of him comfort and stagnant, and he created in him something new that can only be formed through the crucible of pruning or suffering. And I really feel like that's like a word for us today, is that when the bush is being trimmed, it's painful, it's suffering, it's miserable. But in pruning, it will take away the old identity, the old image, and leave it with a bountiful, fruitful image of Christ in us, the hope of glory. So if you're walking through suffering right now, if you're walking through pruning and you're praying through this and like, you know, you feel like the devil's after you, it might not be the devil. It might be the Lord. And if you're praying through that, take heart. It actually says in Scripture to don't count it all joy when you face trials of various kinds, brothers, because the trials produce endurance, and what God can't do through someone with endurance. So I love you. Continue to press into what God's teaching you and what God's bringing about in you and what God's pruning in you. And I love you.